many has been. And always Harry the Cane to fighting off dogs. Tony, can hold that. If any of them step forward, you know what to do.
Who do I know what to do?
Any of them, at 2 a.m. in the morning, having risen at 8 o'clock on 2 a.m. the following morning, Leopold Bloom and Stephen Dedalus arrived back at the Bloom household in Eccles Street, and people may remember that when he was going out to buy his breakfast in the morning, he left the door ajar with his foot because his key was in the trousers he was wearing yesterday. So they arrive at the house. What action did Bloom make on their arrival at their destination? At the house steps of the fourth of the equally different uneven numbers, number 7, Eccles Street, he inserted his hand mechanically into the back pocket of his trousers to obtain the latchkey. Was it there? It was in the corresponding pocket of the trousers which he had worn on the day but one preceding. Why was he doubly irritated? Because he had forgotten, and because he had remembered that he had reminded himself twice not to forget. What were then the alternatives before the premeditated, respectively, and inadvertently keyless couple? To enter or not to enter, to knock or not to knock. Bloom's decision. A stratagem. Resting his feet on the dwarf walls, he climbed over the area railings, compressed his hat on his head, grasped 2 points at the lower union of the rails and stiles, lowered his body gradually by its length of 5 feet 9 inches and a half to within 2 feet 10 inches of the area pavement, and allowed his body to move freely in space by separating himself from the railings and crouching in preparation for the impact of the fall. Did he fall? By his body's known weight of 11 stone and 4 pounds, in avoirdupois measure, as certified by the graduated machine for periodical self-weighing in the premises of Francis Frodman, pharmaceutical chemist of 9 Frederick Street North, on the feast of the Ascension, to wit, the 12th day of May of the bisextile year 1904 of the Christian era, Jewish era 5664, Mohammedan era 1322, golden number 5, Ithaca 13, solar cycle 9, Dominical letters CB, Roman indication 2, Julian period 6617, MX MIV. Did he rise uninjured by concussion? Regaining new stable equilibrium, he rose uninjured, though concussed by the impact, raised the latch of the area door by the exertion of force at its freely moving flange, and by leverage of the first kind applied to its fulcrum, gained retarded access to the kitchen through the subadjacent scullery. Ignited a lucifer match by friction, set free inflammable coal gas by turning on the vent cock, lit a high flame which by regulating he reduced to quiescent candescence, and lit finally a portable candle. What discrete succession of images did Stephen meanwhile perceive? Reclined against the area railings, he perceived through the transparent kitchen panes a man regulating a gas flame of 14 CP, a man lighting a candle, a man removing, in turn, each of his 2 boots, a man leaving the kitchen holding a candle of 1 CP. Did the man reappear elsewhere? After a lapse of 4 minutes, the glimmer of his candle was discernible through a semi-transparent, semicircular glass fanlight over the hall door. The hall door turned gradually on its hinges. In the open space of the doorway, the man reappeared without hat, with his candle. Did Stephen obey his sign? Yes. Entering softly, he helped to close and chain the door, and followed softly along the hallway the man's back, and listed feet, and lighted candle past the lighted crevice of doorway on the left, carefully down a turning staircase of more than 5 steps into the kitchen of Bloom's house. Later on, Bloom decided, as one does on these occasions, to make a cup of tea. What did Bloom do at the range? He removed the saucepan to the left hob, rose, and carried the iron kettle to the sink in order to tap the current by turning the faucet and let it flow. Did it flow? Yes. From Roundwood Reservoir in County Wicklow, of a cubic capacity of 2,400 million gallons, percolating through a subterranean aqueduct of filter mains of single and double pipage, constructed at an initial plant cost of £5 per linear yard by way of the Dargle, Ratdown, Glenada Downs and Callowhill, to the 26-acre reservoir at Stillorgan, a distance of 22 statute miles. And thence through a stream of relieving tanks by a gradient of 250 feet to the city boundary at Eustace Bridge, Upper Leeson Street. Though from prolonged summer drought, the daily supply of 12.5 million gallons of water had fallen below the sill and overflow weir, from which reason the borough surveyor and waterworks engineer, Mr. Spencer Harty, CE, on the instruction of the Waterworks Committee, had prohibited the use of municipal water for purposes other than those of consumption, envisaging the possibility of recourse being had to the potable water of the Grand and Royal Canals as in 1893, particularly as South Dublin Guardians, notwithstanding their ration of 15 gallons per day per pauper supplied through a 6-inch metre, had been convicted of a wastage of 20,000 gallons per night by a reading of their metre, on the affirmation of the law agent of the corporation, Mr. Ignatius Rice, solicitor, thereby acting to the detriment of another section of the public, self-supporting taxpayers, solvent, sound.